Hey guys, we are coming to y'all from 10X headquarters. We are in training right now. How's it been so far? It's day 2.
Yeah, it's awesome as always.
As always. So we're coming off from Mexico. We're coming off from touring properties in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Naples, and then now this 10X coaching. And so Sean is getting his certification, which is really cool and open to all of you guys, by the way, if you want to ever become a 10X coach. And so we're finishing up the day here. We'll be flying back tonight. Lots of great conversations going to happen today. I know that Sergio and Jonathan are primed and pumped to interview Jake today on what it's like walking properties in your own hometown and kind of that next level feel and vibe. And how do you now start raising locally? Because that's the conversation today, is capital raising. Some of you guys may not be in an area that you live in right now that you want to invest in your own backyard. That's okay. Don't tune out this conversation. We're going to be talking about you guys identifying 3 areas that you actually do want to invest in. Maybe you have family, friends, you lived in San Antonio in the past, you love the market. But for Jake, this became real to him when we were actually touring in his market, and him just now starting to process, what would this look like with me helping lead point on a deal that I know I have grassroots, I have the local market. So that's conversation today. Hope you guys are doing well. We'll turn it over to Miss Ellen to get us started. We're going to listen in to you guys. And we also want to have an opportunity not only for you guys to share some good news, but those of you that went to Mexico with us, just give everybody a little bit of a high level, how it went, what your takeaways were, and then we'll roll straight into the conversation. Jake, thanks for being on the hot seat today. Appreciate it.
Let's go. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. All right, over to you, Miss Ellen.
Thank you so much, Miss Jana. Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. So, we're so excited to invite you to one of our upcoming September multifamily investor meetups. Scan the QR code to RSVP today. For the DFW meetup on September 19, we're offering both virtual and in-person attendance options. ConnectCon 2024 is just around the corner. It's happening on November 9 and 10, and ticket prices will increase on October 1st. Use the code MIAMember at checkout for a 50% discount on your ticket. And keep the momentum going after ConnectCon. Join our MIA faculty and special guests for an exclusive mastermind on November 11, a powerful session as we look ahead to 2025. You won't want to miss this, so just see our screen and how to register. So just use the MIA member code again to get a 50% off. And we just wrapped up an amazing Dream Trip Mastermind in Mexico last week, and we're excited to share some photos. So we just added 3 photos here, and look at the very cute twinning OOTD of Sir Jerry and Miss Lori. Such a cutie. So the December schedule for our Dream Trip is now open for registration. So scan the QR code to secure your spot with a $1,000 deposit. Now back to you, Miss Jana.
How great was Mexico?
It was awesome. It was awesome. It was so cool to have everybody there and talk shop, underwrite some deals. We submitted an LOI. We were back and forth a little bit though, which was a really cool conversation. We got some in-depth conversation from the team of, well, maybe we should make some adjustments here or there. At one point, maybe we weren't even going to submit the LOI, but we ended up submitting. So
we have another one to submit on CFO Day. That's going to be next Thursday. So I know it was great making the broker calls and walking through the deals. this is the time we get to actually put properties on the table and dissect them together. So I know Julie, you were there in the room. What did that mean? What was the mastermind experience like for you?
Honestly, it was fantastic. Josh and I have been talking about it ever since. Just to be in a room, in an actual room with you guys while everything's going on and learning more about people, learning about them personally as well as business. We've just taken away, I've got some new goals. So can't say enough about it.
That's awesome. I love it. And I know, Jake, you were there as well. We have a couple of them still in Mexico coming back today.
Yeah.
But Jake, how about you?
Yeah, always a pleasure. It was actually really cool because I was able to go with you guys on the first trip to Mexico. So on there, I had some big lofty goals, and it was a really special experience for me coming back and saying I literally hit all my goals. I did hit one of my profit. I did miss my profit goal by $800, but everything else I hit. And you know, just come back a second time. I can't wait to come back a third time and a fourth time, and continue to build momentum. I would love, and I feel like, you know, whenever we're there in a different country, you know, we're doing different stuff. Like you get to know each other on a deeper level. So, you know, whenever we get together, I know we don't always see each other in person, but when I see Jerry and, you know, Sean, Jana, Sergio, Julie, you know, some of the people that have gone, it feels like a little bit deeper connection. And it's just really exciting to see what we're going to do down the road. So I absolutely loved it.
So true. And then we literally flew straight into Miami. It's been busy. We walked probably 5-6 properties there, stayed in Naples, which we'll talk a little bit about today with subject matter. Walked the area property that we really, it was a super exciting property. And then back to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, walked some more properties. So it's been quite the 2 weeks. We have been it's a road trip and recon. So who else has had some good news, something exciting? Hey, what's the latest on Cityscape?
Closing tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Finally, after that was a little bit grueling, but we are super, super excited. It is closing tomorrow, barring any, you know,
Yes.
major
Unforeseen,
earthly disasters.
craziness. But yeah, we've been working, learning a lot behind the scenes. When you guys are actually closing properties with us, you're part of the raise, which is conversation today. You know, when it goes really, really well, that's awesome. When we still have a few challenges, which we always share about, like this one, we're going to backfill about $2 million, which you guys will be able to help with. You guys will be able to say, hey, our MIA team closed another property. Our team closed another property, because capital raising is about the message. What message are you sending that people are going to start resonating with and seeing that we're all in deal flow? All of us, indirectly or directly, because we're part of MIA, are in deal flow. So that's good news. Who else has some great news you guys want to share personally or professionally? You guys can just unmute. Anyone? Jody made it through back surgery on the other side of that. So keep him in your prayers. Now we're on the healing. We're mending up. Jody, are you on a bunch of drugs right now? Are you going to be able to remember this session?
I'm on no more drugs than I was on before I met Sean.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
No, I'm actually just Tylenol. I haven't taken any of the fun drugs that they prescribe, so I've been staying
Okay.
off.
Good. Don't get hooked on anything.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a pain in your ass, boy. Take that ibuprofen.
Awesome. Well, that is good news. I'm glad that you made it through. And on the other side of that, anybody else? Anyone?
We're gonna have to set some goals here.
Let's
Everybody's
see
gonna
what's
have to
going
bring
on.
up
Any good news?
a win next week. Y'all are making us feel like we're failing our job here.
Eloy, we're going to walk a property tomorrow, right?
There
Yes,
goes-
we are. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Sure am.
Julie got a win.
Yeah, I love it. Well, yeah, so that's it. We are walking Dallas properties, Dallas deals. One of the LOIs is going to be a Dallas deal as well. And then one in San Antonio. So that's the one we submitted the LOI. So Eloy's a deal hunter with us. I love it. Well, Brian as well. So Julie, give us some updates.
Well, I just wanted to say, I told you about goals, but now I'm going to actually say it, so now I'll be accountable. One of the other things at Mastermind is you guys were all getting up early and exercising and doing the thing and then coming in, and I'm feeling like a slug. So I have started exercises as we got back, so we're
All right,
we're
Julie.
Good.
headed that
There
way.
you go.
Let's
Awesome.
go.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, the guide club was up working out at what, 6,
Yeah, 6:30.
and then
6,
doing
6:30.
all the
Mhm.
cold plunge and all the stuff.
Yeah.
Tim and I were taking the walks on the beach and then and all that fun stuff. So yes, you're right. You're right. It's like getting in consistency. So sometimes getting back home, you're gonna take a break, do it on vacation, not these guys. So that was good. That was awesome. All right, well, let's hop into conversation about this. I know that we'll start off. Sergio, Jonathan, you guys have some questions. We're gonna put Mr. Jake on the hot seat, and I would love just to set the expectation here. How many of you guys live in an area that you would invest in? It's a great multifamily market. Wave at us, right? So a few of y'all have your hands down, right? Robin.
Dr. Norman said, nope.
Now Louise has had some deals, right? I'm waiting on. So we've got he and Kim. You're right. Bill is going to walk with us on a property. He and Jake are local. Sam, right? Maybe not. I know that Barbara, if she were to put her hand up, she'd raise her hand. Now, Jim and Terry will have some high interest in Florida markets, but right now where they live, not so much. But it's good to do your homework. Start, do a little homework in your backyard. But now when it comes to investing, go where bodies flow. Are people flowing in? Is it landlord friendly? When we start raising money, it better be in a location people want to either live or invest.
Yeah, and it's, Jake's gonna answer a few questions here and hit some real important quality highlights of why you want to start in your backyard and starting kind of with your power base, if you will, on going and starting that race. So it's somewhere, if you haven't got started or you're trying to get started, and they'll talk about marketing and all these other things that go along with it, but to start in your own backyard with the people that you know and kind of towards the community is a really, really good, solid foundation or baseline to get started with. And so I'm excited to hear, some of those Q&A come out.
So why don't we just start, Jake? Give everybody in the room a little bit, sell Naples to the room and the experience of what it was like to actually walk a property with us in that market, the story behind it, and then where you started having some revelation of this gets real because we got a deal, and now who's going to be supporting and who is my investor base going to be? So start that conversation, give us a little bit of an overview, and then you'll be on the hot seat for Sergio and Jonathan. And how do you find the deal? And then start thinking about how this can literally be a reality, whether it's this one or the next one. You now are getting the vision of my local market will be a great one to invest in. So passing it on to you guys, we're going to be listening in and looking forward to the conversation.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead, and I know they're on mute, but just to tell you guys a little bit about me and my location. So I'm from Naples, Florida. Does everybody know where Fort Lauderdale is at on the map? All right, it's Southeast Florida. All you got to do is literally drive across what we call Alligator Alley to Naples, Florida, through the middle of the Everglades, and then boom, they call this place the Paradise Coast or the Billionaires Coast. It is very different than South Florida. We are considered Southwest Florida, so this is where a lot of people come and they live seasonally, they'll live to retire. And if you haven't heard about it, it's because the city and other places have strategically really tried to keep this a small town vibe. It is one of the wealthiest cities in the country with some of the most expensive real estate in the entire country. And it was a very cool feeling to take Sean and Jana on a little tour and go, okay, this is where I live. This is where the money's at. Here's where the property's at. And it was cool because we went through what's called Port Royal. It's one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the country. And we got to drive by the most expensive real estate listing, single family home real estate in the country. It's almost $300 million. And when they got to drive by that and see some of those big old homes, they're like, whoa, sold. This is nice. So that was actually a really, really cool feeling. And, you know, one of the things that I shared when we were at the Mexico Mastermind was like, you know, okay, I've been back home. I was in Texas with all of you guys, and I moved back home in March. And so for the past 6 months, you know, we've been hosting meetups, talking to brokers, you know, I'm really grateful for the Group GP position because it's given me the opportunity to raise and reach out to my network. And you know, a lot of the things I've already done before me, right? I wasn't on the lead sourcing of the deal. I didn't necessarily put up risk capital. And so I got to go and break the ice with my power base and say, hey, this is what I do. I know you know me as Jake from, you know, back from home, and, you know, Greg and Mona are my parents, you know, but this is what I do professionally as well. And this is what I'm breaking into. So changing that reputation and narrative is kind of exciting because now for the past 6 months, we've been building a relationship with brokers and walking properties. And so we're getting close to finding the one. And we found a couple properties that we really like. One is in Naples. And so now I'm like, okay, this is real. We could actually get this thing. How can I go back to all those people, get them included early on, get the buy-in early on, you know, present them and everything. So that's a little bit about kind of me, where we're at in the area and everything.
Nice, nice. We got Jake, the Naples King. I love it, man. I love it. I think it's pretty cool to, just first and foremost, I think it's awesome because I've toured properties with you in Miami. Wish I could go to Naples, go check it out. So I'm really, really happy for you. But I mean, just for starters, talk about really quick, how does it feel to finally be literally in your backyard, you know, to sit here and tour some properties? Because I know we were in Miami the other day. You know, a couple months ago, we were in Miami, we were walking everywhere, checking out some properties, but how does it truly feel now? Like, what's the difference checking out your backyard and in Miami?
Yeah, it honestly, I think the biggest thing for me was like confidence. So, you know, in Miami, I grew up going over there. I got some friends over there. I've spent some time over there. But in Naples, like when we're driving up to the property, it's like my mind is going back to memories of, oh, that's where Sari met Sally, you know, this is where I did this, you know, like I know the area so well. I know where it's developing and going. And so, you know, I've got way more confidence to say like, yes, this is a solid property, or I don't really know about this. So it feels really cool and it gets me really excited because like I'm proud of where I'm from. And so to go to a property and say like, hey, I've got a property in my backyard. This is where I'm from. It's got like another level of pride to say that, hey, I'm invested here. I'm doing this here. I'm not just doing this in some other market. And it's really rewarding. Like I mean, we're looking at a property in South Florida, probably gonna put an LOI in next week. Love that. But like there's another level of pride to me that comes with, hey, this is my backyard and we're investing here. Like it's really exciting.
How do you truly feel though, man? Tell me how you feel, because I know how I felt whenever I was kind of taking all my people and saying, hey man, you see that? Yeah, we're gonna buy that. We're gonna submit an LOI. So tell us how like you actually felt though. How do you truly feel? I know you're saying it's cool, but like, man, let it out, man. Let us know how you feel.
Okay, so I'll tell you a quick story. Yesterday, I was on the phone with a supplier of mine, and he has this huge VA business out of Pakistan, and they have 400 employees, and he was telling me it's his goal to get to 4,000 employees. And I was trying to get out of him, like, why won't he sell his business to me? And he won't because he's not financially driven. He's so proud of his country and being able to employ those people. Like it's beyond money to him. There's other units he may sell off to me, but it was just like, it was a bigger project than just money to him. And so that is like, I kind of understand what he's talking about. And so now I'm like, wow, like I can't believe I grew up here. I left here, I moved back here. And so it's like, wow, now I feel like I'm swimming with the big fish, or at least I'm getting introduced to the big fish. And I got big fish on this call here. And it's like, whoa, I can't believe I grew so much in such a short amount of time and didn't even know about this game a year ago. And now we are doing this. So it's extremely rewarding. I feel it's truly privileged. We got to come over to my house. We shot a little podcast. I've got a little podcast studio over here. So if you guys are in the area, I'd love to have you over. So you'll be seeing some fire content from Sean and Jan and I coming out. But yeah, I mean, just like extremely rewarding, and I can't wait to get a deal done here because I know we will. And just so you guys know, Grant Cardone loves this market. So right next to my parents' house, like the high school that I went to, he just bought a property a couple of years ago. One of my friends lives off another property. So I know he at least owns 2 in Naples. I think it's actually 3. He owns 2 at least big ones in Fort Myers. So, you know, Southwest Florida, Grant loves. And every time I go to an event, I always hear him talk about the area. And I even heard Ryan Secco talk about, we're looking at Fort Myers, Bonita Springs, and Naples. And I'm like, how does he know Bonita? And that's where I live. And it's like a submarket of the both. So like Grant's team is very, very aware of this market. I've heard him verbally say, I think this is one of the best markets in the entire country. So very rewarding to see like small town, what I thought was small town is really growing. So that's really rewarding.
Sure. Nice, nice. So we're finally in your backyard. You know, we're touring properties. You're confident. You know every area, every square inch, as Sean likes to say here in Dallas. He says, I know every square inch of this place because I was born and raised here, right? So you're in Naples, you know every square inch of it. You know, you're finally shopping in your backyard. Talk about some of the strategies, man, that you have, you know, for potential investors in your area, because at the end of the day, you know, you're deal sourcing, but now, you know, you got to raise the money. So what are some of the strategies that you think about using now, you know, for the people that are in your backyard that are actually possibly driving by an asset that they're going to invest in?
Yeah, that's a great point. So for me, I don't know about y'all, but what I was doing was, you know, I was reaching out to the wealthier friends and family of mine, right? Like pretty much all friends, but, you know, reaching out to people and saying like, hey, they're business owners, they're real estate people, reaching out to real estate clubs, reaching out to a lot of them. A couple people invested, got turned down a lot. But you know, it's like, hey, we're investing in this deal in Fort Worth. And they're like, whoa, I don't really know Fort Worth. Like, I don't really know. And so having that conversation now, I actually this morning was working through some more underwriting and just trying to know every little piece of this, right? So that way I can start formulating this and going, hey, you know, Chris, I know I brought you that last thing, but here's one literally in the backyard. Having something where I can show them and be like, I'll pick you up, or we can have lunch and go over there, or we can check it out, you know, like, and it's forcing me to go back to these people mentally and approach them as a friend and go, hey, no pressure. We don't have this under contract now, but what do you think about this? And who do you know, right? Like, I mean, who do you know that can connect me with other people? Because like, you guys are way more connected than you realize in your own market. And so for me, like I'm literally one person away from almost anybody in Naples, which is kind of cool and kind of crazy to think about, and just how well connected the area is, and just like positioning myself as a real estate professional, right? Like, I mean, I wasn't invested in multifamily a year ago, but through the amazing program of MIA, I'm now invested over 200 doors, you know, 2 different properties. I'm a part of an amazing team. And like bringing that team here is really encouraging, because it's like, oh, wow, like it's legit. I've got experience in framing the situation of saying, this is what I do. And like, let's go take a look at it. Like, hey, you know, that huge property that like they changed the city laws where you can now raise, the property's right behind it. And they're like, oh, no way. And I'm like, yeah, it's like walking distance. Like you can bike to downtown. Like it's 5 minutes from everything. Like, oh, I'm like, yeah, it's less than a mile from the beach. And like, wow, this sounds like like I know how to talk their language about where it's at. Like it's just north of Lely. It's, you know, about 20 minutes north of Marco, you know, less a stone's throw to Oaks Farms. Like I know exactly everything about it. So it just like I know that I could get more local people involved. So that's kind of how I'm like, let me go back, let me revisit all the people that didn't invest and get them involved and saying this is what we're gonna do. What you got, Jana?
Oh, there goes the video. Nice. And I want to point something out. You said something that you're not going to understand this until a couple months later, but you said something that everybody needs to understand. You said, had a property in Fort Worth, you know, you're leveraging, you're no longer just Jake Payne. At that time, you're like, okay, now you're coming back and you're like, hey, I got this property now. Hey, I got this other property. You don't like the one over there in Fort Worth, but now I got the Naples one. The point is that you started somewhere, right? Even if it wasn't in your backyard. And that's actually how me and Jonathan started. We started in Atlanta. You know, we're here in Dallas trying to get our feet wet in the game. And you do have to start somewhere, but when you start circling back around, you're warming your investors up, letting them know, okay, this deal didn't work out for you, but now I'll get this one right in our backyard. I mean, that's key here. And you're not giving up and you're staying relevant to your investors who have a lot of money that you say, right? They have a lot of money or they know somebody that have a lot more money to invest. So like, what was their feedback now that you come the second time around? You're like, hey, the Fort Worth property didn't work out, but I got this Naples one. You know, what was their reaction?
Yeah, I haven't fully gone back to everybody yet because like yesterday was literally the first day I slept in my bed in almost 2 weeks. So I you know, with Mexico and traveling around, and I'm actually out the door again next week, or tomorrow. But like I'm trying to put a lot of that stuff together, and I have mentioned it to a few friends, and it's exciting. But I'll say this, the reputation with the brokers takes time. And so I haven't presented it to the potential investors yet because this deal literally came on the market like last Wednesday. We talked about it on Thursday, talked to them while we were in Mexico, talked to, you know, we literally toured it on Tuesday. So this deal is going to go quick, but I've been working with this group of brokers in my network of brokers for 6 months now. And so, you know, you start with maybe some of the lower tier guys and then work your way up to the senior director guys. And so, you know, now that we're working with a little bit more seasoned brokers, it's like, hey, so tell me about who you are. Tell me about what your group is. It's like, oh yeah. So since then we've closed on a property in San Antonio last month. On Friday or on Thursday, we're closing on a Class A in downtown Fort Worth. And we want this to be our next property. It's like, whoa, this is legit. You know, now they're like, how many units? Like, what was the vintage? You know, what's the name of your group? What, you know, like it's like I got their attention now, right? And so, you know, in Florida, there's a lot, it's a little bit different of a game than Texas. Like the asset is just a little bit different. The price per unit, the insurance, the materials. So things are a little bit different compared to Texas. So you can't necessarily look at it apples to apples. So that's something that's encouraging to me is going like, okay, the reputation and the narrative is changing. So, yeah.
Great. So now you're in your backyard, right? You're hustling. You're bringing the conversation back up. You know, you've been talking to some investors that you probably know that want to invest in a multifamily. You're even now able to leverage the location by saying, "Hey, do you want to stop by? You know, and tour the property. Let's get lunch, and then maybe drive by the property. You know, talk about, you know, a little bit on how you're even identifying these type of people, because at first it was the property, right? It's finding a property that they're probably going to be interested in, but now talk about the investor list itself. Who are you going to choose to possibly invest? Maybe you can give us some tips on that.
Yeah. And I'm here. I know Jana's trying to share something. I took this video of them just to catch y'all the vibe. You know, who doesn't want to invest in a location like this? So this was a little video that we shot on the beach. And this is Sean and Jana. This is on the pier. So you can even see like how peaceful that is, how chill that is. It's a different vibe than the East Coast. So, you know, it's completely different. So I think like making it real is a great. So who doesn't want to invest in something like that? Right? So, I mean, I could show you more pictures of the asset. I mean, it's a great asset, but to me, it's just really encouraging. It's like, okay, I want to change my circle, right? Like some of those people invested, some of them didn't, but I want to get in front of people that are going to write not just accredited investors, but I want, you know, that are going to write $100,000 check. Because I've noticed the people that write $100,000 check versus the 50 grand check versus the $1 million check, it's almost the same amount of work. So I'm like, I'm just targeting the wrong people. You know, it may take a little bit more legwork to get in front of the right people, but once you get in front of the right person, it's like, oh, okay. Like I was nervous, but it's literally just zeros. So that's my thing is like, I want to get in front of people who are going to be writing $1 million checks. I want to get in front of people that are writing bigger checks. And I know they're here. They're in all of our cities. I don't care where you are. They're literally in all of our cities, but I know there's a lot of them here. So that's what's kind of changing with me is like, okay, how are you finding these people? It's like not taking no for an answer. You know, who do you know? Who can you connect me with? Reaching out to them on Facebook. And I will say this is truly amazing. Yes, I have a little podcast studio set up here. And I'm posting a lot more on social media, right? So since I've created this brand of like, hey, multifamily real estate, people know who I am and people are reaching out to me. Like guys that I played, you know, ball with in high school that I didn't talk to in 7 years are like, hey, I'm a broker now. I used to do this, you know, hey, check this out. It may not be our buy box, but like they know people. And so by me creating a brand and posting consistently, like it's insane the amount of conversations I've been having within the last 2 months of simply just posting consistently and building a brand. So like I'm already getting introduced to people, you know, like, have I done a deal on my own yet? No, but like they don't fully know that. It doesn't matter. Like I'm a part of a greater group. And so, you know, having that, you know, positioning and posting consistently online is crazy, right? Like I literally, my whole network as the door has been kicked down. Guys that I was nervous to talk to are introducing me to other people. And so like, since I've done that so many times now, I'm no longer nervous. And I'm like, okay, who's the big fish? You know, like put me in front of the billionaire, put me in front of the multi. And I did try and pitch Cityscape to a billionaire 2 weeks ago, you know? And so it's like, okay, how can we do this? Like we can do this. Like just get me in front of the biggest fish possible and as many possible, right? Like it's simple. If they don't want the deal, that's fine. I know there's more people out there. So that's kind of my mentality is like, if you break down the deal, so like, for example, the deal that we were looking at next week, it's like, let's say we buy at the top of the market, 18 million, right? And you break that down, it's only going to be a couple $1 million raise. And if we only have a few people with $1 million checks, it's not that bad. So like, that's kind of my position. I know a lot of you have raised way more money than me, but I just know there's like infinite wealth down here. And I'm like, okay, sometimes I like, Bill and I are going to definitely have to partner. Brian, who I know is not on the call today, like I really want to bind, you know, Nancy, who's in Southwest Florida part-time, is like, okay, let's band together as MIA and do this together because there's a lot to be had. And you all, you know, I know that we're all one team. So the Botanics, other people, Jerry, you know, a lot of people want to be in Florida and a lot of people may end up in Florida one day. So my goal is to really create a huge base and a huge infrastructure of investors, partners, that it's like at the drops of a hat when something comes on the market, because things are changing in Florida, let's go big.
Nice, nice. So from what I heard a little bit is that, you know, you were obviously, and we always say this, but it's the word leverage. It's sitting here saying, okay, hey, I'm sending you videos of my partners, Jana and Sean, that are on the coast of on the pier. You know, we're in Mexico, leveraging the relationships of MIA. And you said it yourself. I haven't done a full cycle, but my group has done big things. We're closing deals all over Texas and expanding into, you know, other markets. But the point is that we're closing these deals, and this is why you should invest with me. So it's obviously leveraging, you know, the relationship that you do already have. You're obviously trying to take them to the assets that are in their backyard. And I think it's just phenomenal that, you know, the power and how you're doing this, how you're marketing yourself, you're getting out there, you keep screaming and kicking and saying, hey, I'm Jake Payne, I'm the one doing this multifamily. And because of that, they're talking about you. Now, because of that, you know, Peter's telling Paul, hey, my buddy Jake is doing multifamily. You know, he's got money, Jake. Go and talk to Peter, right? And go talk to Paul. So I think it's just phenomenal that you're just kicking and screaming and you're not giving up, and you're most definitely leveraging the team to make this happen. Which goes back to Jonathan. I think Jonathan's got a really, really good question for you.
Yeah, man. So really proud of you, Jake. I see a lot of growth, right? Since we started on this journey together, right, with you. So yeah, I see that you became a little bit more, you became a way more confident, right? And that comes from by closing deals with the partner, leveraging partnerships and everything. And I see you start posting actively in social media, and social media is powerful, right? So that's we keep telling everybody, hey guys, social media. You don't have anything yourself, you leverage the partners, you share and everything about what we're doing as a team and everything, right? But you say a lot of people are reaching back to you, right? A lot of people are like, hey, so because your brand, and then you like became like a real estate investor and everything, right? So I just want to kind of get a little bit of feedback in you, what people are asking you or telling you, right? Just for people to be prepared as soon as they start posting in social media. How are they reaching out to you whenever you do postings or something like that?
Yeah, no, it's great. So right here in my place, give you a little tour. We've got a little setup where I created some walls and some chairs, and I'll have somebody come over and we shoot content. It's so easy to do a really high-end podcast. I know probably not a lot of people are going to do it, but if you're looking to have a great networking tool, it's amazing. And so like, having people over here and then posting the content is super easy. And when you meet somebody, they look you up. And they'll look you up on Instagram and sometimes LinkedIn. And so when people see my stuff on Instagram, they're like, oh, it sparks their curiosity, and then they reach out. So that's something that they'll like, hey, what are you working on? What are you doing? And people will connect me with others, and they'll look me up and see that ahead of time, and then ask me, like, when we get on the phone, it's like, hey, I saw you did this. Tell me more about it. So like they already know what's up because that's what I'm posting. I'm not just posting thirst trap pictures out here. It's like you post something with substance, you post something with, hey, this is what we're doing. I'm raising money. This is under contract. Like, people have a different level of respect. And so for me, having that on there has been really easy for people to just ask questions like, hey, what are you looking for? A lot of people are looking for, like, I don't know, flipping partners or like wholesalers or like, buying a duplex or something. And then when you explain what we're doing, everybody wants to be a part of it. They're like, wow, how are you doing that? And they've got like a zillion different questions. And then, when you tell people this is what I want to do, they introduce you. And that's what's really cool is it's like, hey, I need to introduce you to my mentor from 20 years ago who's moving back to Naples because he lived in Ohio for the last 20 years, so it's like people are asking me questions about like what I'm looking for, what I'm doing, and how I'm doing it. And then when I tell them, most of the time, I'll point them to MIA, or they connect me with somebody else. So that's the main thing is like, hey, what are you guys looking for? And sometimes people are like, oh yeah, if I find a deal, you get a finder's fee or whatever. I'm like, if you're really out here doing that, whatever, like, so, just like talking to people but the coolest thing is like the introductions and the network, because people who want to be in multifamily, they're business owners, or they're wealthy, or they know somebody, or they're developers. And so that's what's really cool to me is like the connections and what I've been grateful for.
Love it, Jake. Like, and let's talk a little bit about strategies, in the follow up, because a lot of people, including Grant Cardone, right? He always shows statistics about how important the follow up is, right? Like 80% of the results are just coming in the follow up, right? So right now that you reach out to a lot of people about the deal in Fort Worth, right? And now that you're gonna be looking into like something in your market and you're sharing information about it, right? So what are those strategies that you see that you are gonna be applying in the future, right? To keep nurturing relationship with them, to like, I just kind of like thinking about like, hey, what is going through your mind about how to keep building and making that relationship with these future investors stronger?
Yeah, so I probably should have started with this, but for all you out there who are listening, this was like really weird. So when we were leaving the property, so to give you more information, it's in Naples, Florida. It's 10 minutes from, it's not even, it's like 2 minutes to downtown. It's 200 doors, 200 a door. It's a great asset. And so when we were leaving, like Sean and Jana kind of like it, I don't know. It was like, I don't know, Jana's voice got real quiet, or like maybe Sean's voice got real quiet. It was like, so if we do this, like how are you gonna raise money? And it was like I could tell that was a real question. And I was like, dang. And so like I started to really like rack my mind because these past deals, I want to be able to raise $1 million off every deal. And I haven't done that yet. And so now I'm like, okay, how can I actually do this? And so I started to think a little bit deeper. And I thought of like three people for sure that I had not reached out to, that I should have reached out to. So my mind thought a little bit deeper because it was local. I was just before thinking about it one way, but thinking about it another way locally. Trust me, I was working hard on raising capital before, but now it's like my mind just goes into different places because it is local. And I'm like, oh, I went to high school with so-and-so who does this. I'm sure they would know somebody. So, my mind has really opened up and gone in different directions. If you ask the right question, you'll get the right answer. If you ask the wrong question, you'll get the wrong answer. So like before I was like, oh, how can I raise 100 grand? I had to, talk to, let's say 50 people to get the 2 people that invested, to overachieve on that goal. Now I'm like, okay, how can I raise, $10 million? My mind is going completely different direction. So my mind is now I'm being guided on the right answer because I'm asking a better question. And I'm like, well, how can I know who the top people in my city are? Who do I know that are connected me to those people that could help me with this? And if it's not them, I'm sure they know other people. Because you guys probably don't know who the Collier family is, or the Hoffmans down here, or anything like that. The Marinelli, there's a lot of bigger names and families down here that you guys have in your own cities. Like, I don't know who those big families and big companies are where you guys are, but my mind started going, okay, how can I get connected in front of them? So that's, to me, like, it's all about connection and it's all about network, and having that brand and having a podcast and providing value to people is like, they want to be a part of it. Like I tell, you ask like, hey, so-and-so, let's grab coffee. It sucks. Like, you got to know them personally, and scheduling it is such a hassle. But like knowing somebody, so a friend of mine, he's raised like $200 million, and I had him on my podcast. I think I released it like 2 weeks ago. He's raised over $200 million for his alternative investment deals. I have him over on my podcast, and he introduces me to like 3 different people. One who's probably going to invest in our multifamily deals soon, and so it's like, if you can provide value to somebody and have something that can help them, like, boom, right after I didn't even plan on it. He just opened up and said, bro, you're doing amazing things here. I want to connect you with so-and-so and so-and-so. And he did, so it's like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'd love to help you out in this area. Providing value to people has really opened up more doors for me. So that's something that is kind of cool. So I'm trying to like lay the foundation now, because the deal is going to come. Like, let's say we submit the LOI next week and it's accepted. It's like, holy smokes, like, we got to raise the money now. So it's like, we're always raising money, and those questions are always in the back of my mind. Like, I no longer want to work in the business of certain functions of me. Like, I've delegated those, so that way I can spend more time shaking hands and meeting people. Like, it may not have the most immediate income impact, but it's a much better wealth building strategy. So that's kind of what I'm focused on right now.
Love it, man. You mentioned really, really important and some key points that I'm gonna, kind of go back about. You say that you leverage, right? So you referrals is something that is really important, right? Because even sometimes if you have an investor already, he refers you with another one, or the strategy that you're using, right? The podcast, right? So that works very well. That works for us too, as you guys know. So it just keep those kind of strategies that Jake just mentioned. They work, right? So let's talk a little bit about this referral and investor relation, right? Because now you have people that are investing with you because they trust you, they believe in you, they know the team, right? So they were able to understand the business, right? So what are those strategies that you're gonna apply right now for investor relations, right? Because some of the future investors you could have in the future, they are coming from these people that refer you for more because they are achieving amazing results, right? So what do you think about it?
Yeah, so you said, what do I think about like just building those relationships more and
Yeah,
more?
like investor relations. How are you planning to, nurture that to get referrals for some other investor for you?
Yeah, I think so. I don't have this fully planned out, but I want to create something where like, if you guys are ever interested in the Florida market, I think I've sent it to a few of you guys down here. But like people in MIA, I just have a folder. If anybody wants it, I'll send it to you. But it's like, hey, here's the deals I'm looking at, right? So like, just being able to send some of that stuff, and I'll put in there like the OMT 12 rent roll, my underwriting doc, and I'll just send it like, hey, Sean, this is what I'm looking at. Or, I think I sent it to a few other people as well. And so like, you guys can take a look at it and we review it. And it's like, hey, I like it, I don't like it. And we kind of keep it moving, right? But something that we've got a little bit more impact, like, hey, just sending them that with a voice message saying, hey, this is what I'm looking at. Like, and getting their interest and getting their buy-in early to those top people, right? And then, just saying like, hey, this is where I'm doing, this is what I'm thinking. And with a voice message or a screen or a Loom video, something that I can record and just say like, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm thinking at. Because like number one, we are all on a winning team. We're all on the same team. And number two, we're on a winning team. Like, I don't know about y'all, but like when I started my business, it's still kind of a startup, right? Like nobody knows about it. It makes money, but nobody knows about it. Frankly, not a lot of people care about it, and that's cool. But like they can have a certain perception, but it's like, hey, we've closed a lot of deals. We're looking at deals. Like this is a winning team with momentum, and that's what people want to be a part of. So saying like, hey, this is where we're at, this is where we're going, just saying like, hey, we're looking at it. You think I should put an offer in on it? Or like, would you be open to investing in this? Or like, just kind of like those people that are here locally with me. Because people care about where they live. So that's something that I'm thinking about doing, is just like getting them getting them interested early on. It's like, hey, this is where I'm at. What do you guys think? Hey, getting their buy-in early. Don't like it, whatever. But teasing them a little bit and saying, hey, I might put an offer in on this. What are your thoughts? Oh, I love the location. Okay, cool. Not that it's fully dependent on that, but getting the investor feedback as well, because everybody's got their own, like, okay, even Cityscape. I love Cityscape. But like some of the negative feedback I got was, what's up with the office space? What's up with the mixed use? Now, granted, some of those people still invested, but it's like, they didn't know the market. They didn't know how cool that was because they're in Florida, not in Texas, and how cool of a unique thing was. But the people down here may be like, hey, I know the city's making plans to go there. My brother's house was worth $100,000. Now it's worth $400,000 because everything's moving down there. So people know the story of the market. So it's like, hey, this is right where they're putting that new system. Let's do it. Just getting their buy-in.
Nice, Jake. And then you guys have questions, please just raise your hand, right? I'm sure you wanna kind of get an answer from Jake, especially because as you see, he's an action taker right now. He's applying what he's learning, right? He's posting, he's doing the work. That's why he's achieving results, right? So that's why we're really happy to have a Jake on the team, right? Because now guess what? We can scale, we can grow faster, we can keep buying multifamily. Maybe, we get something in Naples in the future, right? And it looks like it's going to be pretty soon, right? So I love that, right? But Jake, you say something really important before I go to Jody, right? Man, you get a lot of no's to get the yes, right? So what were those challenges or those questions? What do you think, like, you can go through challenges whenever you were pitching to these investors, right? And how are you thinking to overcome those objections or improve or make those people investing with you?
Yeah, I think so I screenshotted this from Grant Cardone recently. I think I have it on my computer right here. But one of the things that he had, it was like, oh yeah, it's right here. It's Grant's like the 10 commandments of sales. And one of them was, or I'll just read them off real quick because it's cool. Dress to sell, be proud and positive, visualize the sale, be sold on your own offer, know your own value prop, always agree with your client, give a demonstration like a super freak, be efficient with your time, control the conversation, and assume the close. Always be persistent in the follow-up. And I think that we like the assume the close part is where I feel like a lot of us kind of fail, because we're like, oh, they have to commit first, rather than like, all right, a good salesperson is like, I already sent you the agreement, I already sent you the link to invest, like I already sent you the OM, like when can we move forward? Not are you going to? It's like, when can we? So I think that's kind of me, is like assuming that those objections don't exist. When they do, agree with them and kind of recircle back. But a lot of those objections was, oh, I don't have anything else going on. Okay, that's great. Or like, I was too full with my investment plate. All right, well, this is in our backyard. Like, let's go tour it. Actually, I'm bringing a couple people by on Thursday. Will I see you there? Something like that. Just like assuming the sale, assuming the close is something that it's like, that's something that I think is great.
Nice, love it, love it. Let's go, Jody.
You talk about the close, Jake. Good information, by the way. Good to see you again, bud. The one thing that I've noticed is with this team, we're not going to have bad deals. We're going to have great deals, and the deals that I've been associated with, I never once felt like I was having to sell anyone on a deal. So it's great that you bring that up, coupled with what we have as a team. But my question is, going into Naples, outside of insurance and taxes, what's that area's expense ratio usually? And what are some of the things that with those deals that you're always on the look for?
Yeah, the expense ratio is about 50%. And what I'm always on the look for is like, number one, especially in Southwest Florida, like Miami, Broward, county over there on the East Coast, there's more volume, there's more inventory, there's more product. So there's barely any deals actually within the BIPOC that comes on the market, right? And so whenever they do, unfortunately, like normally they're priced pretty high. And so like I'll do everything I can on that deal just to understand the market and the deal a little bit better. But the main thing is like the cap rates the cap rates are too low, price per door is too high. There's always, or it's going to require more construction that I feel comfortable with on the first deal. Those are the kind of the levers that I see that I'm like, man, well, like cap rates too low, or like this would be a great deal, but I don't have a Sergio here. Like I don't have, my construction guys, the Brian Woolery here. I don't, at least not yet. Like I know some of them, but they're not like MIA yet. So that's my thing, is knowing like the buy box is really small for the first deal, because I wanted to be a bunt, right? Like there's certain deals that were like, whoa, this could be a home run, but it's going to require a lot of work. So that's kind of where I'm at, is like, I don't want to do all that. I want to have a bunt. I want to have a B or an A asset in an awesome location.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jody. You're awesome.
Okay. No, Jake, man, that was amazing conversation, right? So it just about keep going, right? Just about keep going, man. Just keep posting, because those are bringing results, right? So you say something about that. You try to pitch it to a billionaire, right? So how was that? How you try to make, I would say, the mindset in order for you to pitch him, right? So because I remember that even including myself, I was sometimes even scared or have doubts in myself to be pitching to certain people, right? But you just overcame that, right? So and you decide to go, okay, I'm gonna pitch this to this guy. He's a billionaire. I'm sure I'm gonna get results. If it's not now, it's later, right? So how do you work that mindset to be in order to do that? Because that's not easy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, but listen, he was the coolest guy ever. Like he was actually like treated you like a person, was talking to us as a group. And then somebody kind of pulled me into the side and was like, who this guy is? Like, no. And I'm like, he does this, this, and this. And then he starts talking to us about it. I'm like, oh, I'm pitching Cityscape right now. And so I tried to like talk to him about it a little bit more, and it just wasn't really the place. And I followed up with him. I'll follow up with him again, but even multifamily wasn't really his thing. He's looking to buy software and has a family office. But I was like, are you guys interested in commercial real estate? And he was like, yeah, if the deal fits. I was like, hey, I've got a great deal. We've got under contract. We closed in 2 weeks. I'd love to show you this. And, you know, he gave me his Instagram, and, you know, I've sent him a video and stuff, but I haven't got any follow up with it. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's just like, you know, I remember like literally being so scared and procrastinating, just to be honest, like even calling friends of mine, you know, like just being like, how am I going to say this? And, you know, like I feel like I'm taking from them, but I'm not. Like I'm presenting a deal for them to invest. But that was just the limited mindset. And, you know, just doing it over and over again. And it's just like, listen, like these, like, how close of friends really am I? Does this even matter? Am I helping them? Am I invested? Am I going to help them? Am I helping myself? You know, making sure that I've got the right story in place and going like, I literally just need to put this in front of as many people as possible. And to be honest, just like I kind of believe like you just do the best you can with what you have. Like right now, I'm fighting for the deals in Texas. And I know that all of you are going to fight for me when we get to Florida. You know, because that's just kind of how this whole thing works. And I'm like, my partners are out here working, you know, my partners are on the phone. And that's what's cool is like, I know, like for the people that are not on Cityscape, like, you know, Sean, Jana, Mike Reese, Jay Kinder, you know, the guys who are really taking the leadership role there, like, dude, they're working their butts off. Like they're making calls, literally going, who do we know that can connect us with somebody? And I'm like, if they're doing that, I'm doing that. And how can I get uncomfortable because I need to be providing value? Because like, you know, my butt may not be on the line like all of theirs really is, but like I'm a part of this team, so it is. So any opportunity that I can do to help provide value, like I want to take it because that's what good partners do. And I want to be a good partner. I only want to do deals with good partners. Like that's kind of where I'm at. And I know a lot of you are good partners, but it's just like to me, I knew that they were working, and that's what put me in the mindset. It's just like, if they're working hard, I'm working hard. I know that they're up late night doing this too. So I'm not in this alone. It's not just me building Jake's empire. You know, no one person takes down the whole deal. So that was my mindset, was just like, hey, and I don't even have to fully close them, right? Like I know I could just kind of introduce them to Sean or Jana or somebody. And like, I literally didn't have to do it alone. I had to do the initial introduction, but like he was a cool guy. So even if he was a jerk, I don't really want to do business with jerks, but maybe you'd want to throw a check. I don't know, but I wouldn't know, under no circumstance is any of this all on me, which gives me confidence. But we're doing a deal in Florida, y'all. I got plenty of pictures.
You guys here?
Hey.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes. Can y'all hear me?
Perfect. It's kind of laggy a little bit. I don't know if it's me or if it's you, but we're almost at the top of the hour, and I just I wanna say a few things, and then I got a final question for you. So I think it's just phenomenal. It's just crazy because just the other day, man, here in a couple months in December, it's going to be a year that we met.
That's great.
And to see how much you've done and what you've accomplished in that year, like it's just been crazy, bro. Like you've literally catapulted yourself into such a great position in life in such a short amount of time. And that all happened by taking action. And you're one of the hardest workers that I know, and I love hanging out with you. And it's always a good thing, man. And I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, because I do consider you family, man. So congratulations on all you've done in such a short amount of time. Super glad that you're around. And just to close this off, brother, what advice would you give the group, man? Like, what advices would you give everybody in this room that maybe just joined MIA not too long ago? And for those people that aren't here yet but are to come.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. And I'm humbled. Like I can't believe it. It's been a year. And that means a lot coming from you. So I really appreciate that, Sergio. I would say just know your numbers and get after it. Like it's a big math equation. So for me, like in e-commerce, I know I got to spend so many dollars to get so many eyeballs on my site, to get so many conversions, to make so much money, to make so much profit, right? And then it's like, how can I just go faster? So to me, it's like, okay, if you know what your retirement number is, then that means you need to get so many deals at such a price point, and it takes so long to get a deal. How can I provide as much value in as much amount of time to get that? So to me, it's knowing about the numbers, going, wow, okay, then that's going to take so much time to do this. Like, how can I just literally go all in and know this is what I want to do, that I'm committed to the game, and just be like, I'm not just committed to the game, I'm married to the game. Like I want to do it, and I want to go faster and farther together. So that's kind of me, is like, know the numbers, know how many calls you got to make, know how many, you know, checks you need to get invested. How many people am I going to have to talk to, and just figure out, oh, if all I have to do is talk to, I heard a stat, it was like, to get married, you have to go on 27 first dates. It's like, how can I just knock out those first dates and get married? Granted, I'm not married, and I'm saying I want to go on 27 first dates, but I'm just saying, like, how can I get all those first dates of the investors out of the way, right? It's kind of the same thing. To me, this is all dating. How many times can I get rejected by a broker in order for them to give me a good deal? You know, it's literally the same thing. So that's kind of where I'm at. And last thing, because I think we're getting cut off here, I am considering doing like an MIA Florida meetup. So like, I'm already doing in-person meetups, but digital meetups. People like, I don't know, if you're interested in investing in Florida, going, hey guys, here's the deal, here's where we're at, like getting your guys' interest as well, because I know a few of you may be moving down here or want to invest in here. Just, you know, I'd be, you know, just 1 hour a month or something, show you guys the deals I'm looking at. Would love to show you guys that. We all hop on here. I know you guys, I like you guys, I trust you guys. And frankly, I don't want to talk about the deals outside of MIA to anybody else, unless they are a core piece that we're going to be doing business with as a strategic thing that would only be cleared through MIA first. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I love you guys. You're amazing. Thank you. You guys are my motivation. Yes, Terry, I'll keep you guys in the loop. Same with Rich and Jerry and a few others.
Awesome. Well, I think it was a great conversation. It was just an amazing collaboration with Jake to see his experience. And this is all, remember guys, in 1 year. Yep, even less. I think it was way less than a year. So I think you've done a great job and you're killing it. And I mean, I hope everybody's learned from Jake. Jake, I mean, he's an action taker. He's making it happen, moving and shaking. So I hope that, you know, puts a little bit of motivation in everybody to keep going. So that being said, yeah, guys, that concludes today's call, and we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Thank you guys.
Nice.
Love you. Peace.